How was slavery institutionalized by colonialism? Imagine a system so deeply ingrained that it shaped entire societies and left lasting impacts. This is the story of how slavery was institutionalized by colonialism. In the early 1600s, when English colonists established Jamestown in Virginia, they began exploiting indigenous Indians and later Africans for labor. This exploitation quickly evolved into a full-fledged system of slavery. By the mid-1600s, laws were enacted to codify them, making it clear that slavery was based on race and heredity. For example, in Virginia in 1641, a law was passed that sentenced a man named John Punch to lifelong servitude simply because he was African, while his European companions received only temporary extensions of their servitude. This marked one of the first instances of legally codified race-based slavery. The Royal African Company, established by English monarch Charles II in 1660, played a significant role in this process. This company had a monopoly on transporting enslaved people to the English colonies, and between 1672 and 1713, it bought 125,000 captives from the African coast. Many of these captives did not survive the brutal Middle Passage, the journey from Africa to the Americas. As the 17th and 18th centuries progressed, every English colony practiced slavery, from the southern rice plantations in South Carolina to the northern wharves of Boston. Slavery was not just a labor system. It influenced every aspect of colonial thought and culture. It gave white colonists a sense of superiority when they compared their status to that of the enslaved. The economic system known as the triangle trade was central to this. Slave traders imported enslaved Africans to North American colonies, which in turn exported goods like lumber, tobacco, and sugar to Great Britain. These goods were then transformed into luxury items and traded along the African coast for more enslaved Africans. Colonial laws further solidified slavery. For instance, Virginia's 1662 law stated that children born to an enslaved mother would also be enslaved. Similar laws were enacted in Maryland, New York, New Jersey, and other colonies, ensuring that slavery was hereditary and based on race. Enslaved people were treated as property with minimal rights. They could not testify in court, own firearms, or gather in large groups. They worked from sunrise to sunset, often with Sundays off to tend to their personal needs. The institution of slavery was so entrenched that even after the Haitian Revolution, which inspired fears of slave revolts, colonial powers tightened restrictions on enslaved and free Black people rather than considering emancipation. The American Colonization Society, which aimed to remove free Black people from the United States to Africa, was another attempt to manage the issue without addressing the root problem of slavery. In summary, slavery was institutionalized through a combination of legal codification, economic systems, and cultural attitudes that reinforced racial hierarchy and white supremacy. This complex web of laws, trade, and societal norms ensured that slavery became a cornerstone of colonial societies in the Americas.